This is Taylor Winters with Haunting.net at the 17th door. Can you please introduce yourself? And for those unacquainted, can you tell us what the 17th door is?
My name is Robert Luther, aka my street name is Robbie Luther. I'm a co-owner with Heather, my wife, and also our partner Adam and his wife Sarah. 17th door is, I guess, is what people would call it, an extreme haunt. I don't even like the title extreme haunt, but you know, it's basically I like to call it a haunted attraction, extensive, thorough. I don't know what you would call it because there's not really anything else like it. So it's a haunt. We're continuing the prison theme. I think this is our third year in prison with our main character Paula. So this is actually going to be the last year in prison, and then we'll have a final year for this storyline next year, and then that's it.
With Paula being the main face character for the overall experience, what was the original inspirations for Paula?
You know, I get questions about, like, what's the inspiration? What's the 17th door? What's the this? And I'll tell you, like, my honest answer is it's all, like, logical, engineering, like, machine-like, right? So I knew once we had decided kind of that we wanted to deal with a girl and kind of girl issues and weight issues and body image issues, then I'm looking for characters that might fit that in a haunt sense, and so we gravitated towards pigs. And so with that, I wanted alliteration that she might have been bullied with, so that led to a name with P, and then that led to, okay, what are popular names with P? And so I went with Paula. I didn't think that we'd be still doing this 5 years later and still be talking about some girl that I made up out of nowhere. I don't know. I always thought of her as just a side thing, almost just to tie things together, to give purpose to, like, you know, kind of like I never liked how haunts were, they just gave you a theme just to kind of like explain the set, right? Like, oh, that explains why we're in a swamp or something. I wanted something to tie it together year over year, and so that's why we went with a story. But the story is definitely kind of taking a little bit more of our attention in terms of, like, okay, let's try to spend more time telling it and things like that. It's definitely grown more important to me, I guess I would say, and her as a character, I guess. I was just reading some, like, fake letter. If you've seen the trailer, the letter that she writes, and I was, like, reading it, you know, because we was going over the lines with Chelsea, the actor who plays Paula in the trailer, and I was like, I had a hard time reading parts of the letter, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what the fuck? Do I care about, like, Paula? I was like, what? So I was like, it was weird, like, actually getting an emotional attachment, I think, to this character when I was, like, always just very, like, you know, methodical about it.
Each year, the scares increase in both fear and in scale. In year 1, we had the lockers, which gave rise to entering a brain in year 2, to the daring rooftop escape in year 3, to a firing squad and gas chambers in year 4. What are your process for coming up with these ideas, and how are they translated into a workable scare?
I don't really know where the ideas originate from. That's kind of hard to explain because that's a creative thing, right? I just come up with them creatively. They get inspired all the time. So I can tell you that I'm always thinking, whether I'm standing here or I'm driving somewhere, there's always things going on. Ideas can come at any time. They get inspired by things, inspired by other things. How I implement them, I think what the real strength of how I design things is that because I have such a strong kind of design engineering ability. You know, I've been in many industries and been able to design and construct many things. Combining that with creative now, I have a large advantage because I already kind of know what's potentially possible in the physical engineering world, right? So I don't have to, like, cross-check my creative ideas, well, is that even possible, with someone else, right? So it's kind of like they almost already get pre-qualified, you know, inside my own head. So the creative ideas, there's always tons of them, and then they just kind of rise up. You know, the better ones keep surviving all the different layers of like, okay, what about this obstacle, that obstacle, and then the great ones just rise up, and then usually by the time I start an idea, I already know it's gonna work, right? Like the tumble room, the guns, all that stuff, I already know it's gonna work. It's just a matter of, okay, how long it's gonna take us to get there, you know, how is the effect going to really play out with the people? That's always what's interesting to me. You know, like the room might do exactly what I want it to do, but it might not get the response I want. Adam, my partner, he can build anything. We used to have businesses together before that we used to work on show cars and, you know, suspension and automotive. So we just have pretty much any resource you can think of on, like, a build level.
With such a strong desire to overcome any challenge, can you talk to your own background and experience?
My background, let's see, I'm a college dropout. I know that. I want everyone to know that. That's my chip on my shoulder for sure. That's actually one of the reasons why I picked a college for to launch the thing. I was like, oh yeah, what's the most horrible place I could think of where horrible things happen to you and you get scammed and it's the biggest bullshit there is. I'm like, okay, perfect, university, let's do it. You know, it's like if I have a daughter, what's the worst thing I could ever think of? Oh, that's right, I'm gonna send her to college. I've done real estate. We started in like cars, car fabrication, performance. That's where I met Adam. We did show cars, you know, like sometimes we would do lowriders, all that kind of shit. Then I went into real estate for a little while, and then now I'm here. You know, with real estate, I was able to kind of get a large background in construction, wider variety of business skills, and now I'm here. I kind of got tired of real estate.
One of our favorite uses of technology is the Vixie Ward VR experience. What inspired this combination of real-world movement, shocks, and effects with virtual visuals? What made you want to create this yourself rather than utilize an existing VR company?
I wanted to do VR, one, because it seemed like no matter what we did, we always got like the same number of guests, right? Give or take 500. So I'm like, okay, what can we do this year? Oh, you know, we'll try to do VR. I just like the challenge of doing it myself, of trying to build it. I would never outsource anything, just because like, I'm here to do this because I want to see what I'm capable of. I don't want to hire people. Like it's just not, it's not a business decision necessarily. It needs to make business sense because then I can keep doing things, right? But the purpose is not business sense. But I just wanted to do VR just to see like, oh, let's fuck around with it, you know? I think it's just a big kind of fun thing that we do. We don't take it very seriously. I don't particularly like VR. I like our VR, but I don't particularly like VR in general.
With the inclusion of live bugs, numerous drops, projectiles, and claustrophobic chambers, is there a line for the 17th door? And is there anything that would be too much?
There's so many layers to what we do here that it's not shock value, right? It's not about the big kind of crazy thing. The suffocation is not to say, oh, look, you get suffocated, right? Although that's great because people talk about it, but really I want you to know what it feels like to be breathing and then all of a sudden you can't breathe, right? That's really hard to pull off for 1,500 people a night. Repeated, every person gets the same experience, they get the top quality experience, right? So I just, you know, it's not about shock value. To me, it's shocking the things that we're able to do. Let me put it that way, right? Versus, oh, we do shocking things. I mean, there's some things like, oh, I have a couple more ideas, but there's no line that I'm trying to get to. I don't want to hurt people. I definitely don't want to do that. There's a difference between like a little electrical shock because they sign up for it. That's fine, right? That's not actually like hurting someone. So, you know, I'm definitely not trying to break any laws. Although it's great because it's like, is there a law against creating a machine that kind of suffocates you for 10 seconds and people pay to do it? No, there's no law for that, which is cool, you know. Maybe they'll make one day, but so I don't want to break the law for sure. And I'm not really trying to hurt anyone. I'm definitely not into, I don't mind going into offensive material, but I wouldn't want to do something that's consistently offending people. But no, I mean, as far as effects or rooms that I do want to do, there's probably a couple that have come up that I'm like, okay, I still want to do that one, or this is going to be great for that final year. But no, I mean, I don't really see limits. I don't look at things like limits, you know? Like, and usually if I have an amazing idea, I'm like, oh, that might be illegal. I'll just look for ways around it to make sure that I can still do what I'm trying to do.
How are the fans reacting to the extreme nature of your shows? Is there anything they want more or less of?
In my opinion, especially last year, because last year was awesome. Last year was like, I was really proud of last year for sure. The response I love is this like, it's almost this like bonding experience that the group will go through. It's a ton of fun. I like to watch them when they leave and they're just kind of in the parking lot and they're just like bonding about what they had just gone through or what stood out. So I know that it's left an impact on them. That's what the real goal is to leave this kind of positive, like memorable, you know, impact on them. One of the other funny things that you do get from a lot of people is like, I love it, man. I mean, I don't like the shocks. You know, if you could get rid of anything, you should get rid of the shocks, which I always think is fucking hilarious because it's like, guy, you don't really know what it takes to give you something that you're never gonna forget, right? If I asked you, hey, what would you write down to design something for an experience you'll never forget? You're gonna write some shit down and it's not gonna work, right? Because what you think you want and what you think is gonna like give you this, whoa, it's not what really will do it, right? it's just this aspect of it that you're not supposed to like, right? You're not supposed to like it. Someone came here, they enjoyed it, or they hated it, they remembered it, it left an impact on them, and 6 months later they're talking about it. Like, I love that. So we finally got our Yelp review from 3.5 to 4. That's really hard for a haunt, I'm telling you.
Fans love the Christmas iteration of the 17th Door that you put on 2 years ago. Will you ever consider doing another Christmas or holiday event again?
So I don't think I'll be doing a Christmas one again. Maybe after the final year when I'm like, I'm done with this, right? I'll just throw some Christmas lights up. Putting this kind of thing on, this level of attraction, it's like mind-crushing amount of effort and work. And so when November rolls around, like my whole brain and body shuts down, and so I don't want to extend that period of time that I need to I just want to go back to my family and just fuck all this haunt shit, so.
This year, you're filming the construction and behind the scenes of the 17th Door. With this reality series, can you tell us more about it and what your aspirations for it are?
We've been doing it for about the last 6 months. We've been documenting everything. It's pretty badass. It's a lot. It's pretty badass. I thought it would make a great show, and doing this haunt actually made me realize that I have a lot more creative abilities than I had, known. And so I see it as a great challenge to go into a new industry and to try to learn the entire industry, figure it out, do it ourselves like we did the 17th Door. We didn't go outside at all. We just built our own team internally. And so I'm really pumped up about the challenge. That's all I can say about it, I like to just wait until it succeeds, and then it's like, see, I fucking, it's badass, right? Because no one's going to believe me if I say it's going to be badass now.
What do you hope guests feel or learn after they attend the 17th Door?
What do I hope they learn? I don't really want them to learn anything. I don't want to teach them anything, right? I just want them to have a great time, and I want them to remember, right? And when we're done and we're not operating anymore, I want them to fucking go, man, I fucking missed the 17th Door. So that's all I hope. I hope they remember this shit. I hope they have a great time, and I hope whatever group they came with, they fucking talk about it when they go to eat later. I hope they talk about it when they meet 6 months after that. And that's it. I don't want to teach them anything, though, that's for sure. I really would, if I was trying to tell people something, I would say, you come in here, yeah, you don't want to do something, you're scared, you've heard this, but I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of people like that get dragged by their friends. And I'm telling you, though, when they're done, they've had a great time. They didn't like everything in it, but they've had a great time, and they're very happy that they did it.